All right, today's lecture will focus mostly on models of mass transfer. In the dying minutes of last lecture, I had kind of introduced you to these theories of mass transfer and also had made this observation that you already are aware of two of these models. The film theory in the form of analysis of diffusion through a solid non-porous membrane, and penetration theory or penetration model in terms of a different view of mass transfer into a falling liquid film. And the penetration theory, I argued, has identical analysis as for the falling film mass transfer problem, with this view that the reference frame is now attached to an element of liquid which starts at time 0 at the top of the test section and slides along the surface in contact with the gas for the length of time which is defined as the total length of film divided by the maximum velocity, and that under the limiting conditions of short time of contact or rapid flows. Okay. Some of you might have had some doubts about it, but when we come to the penetration model, it will become clear. I also had given you this visualization that you could assume for a moment that you are Maxwell's demon who could sit into the liquid element and perceive what is happening around you. So, to start with, when you are at the top of the test section, you will see around you uniform concentration everywhere except at interface, because interface is always saturated. We neglect the dynamics of change of interfacial concentration. So, everywhere the concentration will be CH0, and if you are within that element close to the surface, as you move in time downward, you would see the concentration building up because A is getting imported across the interface. So, you would see that uniform concentration with the discontinuity at the surface now will be modified to C as a concentration which gradually increases towards the surface and attains the maximum value. On your other side, towards the depth of the film, you would see for this short time contact approximation that beyond a limited thickness that this element has, which is within the zone where the velocity is more or less uniform, you would see beyond that the concentration is unchanged from what it was. So, it would remain CH0, okay. But towards the interface you will see the concentration building up. If you further develop this picture and say that, well, I would want to go further along this line and see what happens. So, imagine the test section gets longer and longer. So, you spend more and more time. So, that diffusing A has enough time to go beyond what was originally supposed to be a limited boundary of the element. There also then the concentration will keep changing. And all along, please remember that once you are in that reference frame attached to the element and sliding along this, your time will start according to your stopwatch at 0 at the top, and it will keep increasing as you go down the film. Now, you have given up the picture that you are an outsider or observer looking at the entire film of width 1 and length L. So, you are not looking at that snapshot of the film, rather you are within the element in which the concentration is dynamically changing. So, in that sense, from one standpoint of the stationary observer, it is a steady state picture, but when you sit inside the element, then you will see the problem becomes unsteady state problem. In that sense, you preempt this penetration theory analysis. Okay. So, while I am all to encourage you to do as much analysis as quickly, I would at the same time try to give you a generic picture, so that you see the economy of analysis. The entire utility of mathematics in practical sciences is that it allows you to solve one problem and then all the problems in that family. Okay. So, mathematical modeling is powerful theoretical understanding, first principles are important. There are admittedly difficulties we cannot understand beyond a point, like for example, the boundaries defined by turbulence, but to the extent that we can push those boundaries further, the engineering science will become more of science. Okay. So, engineering is there, practically, experimentally relied, dependable, art and science mixture. You have pure science where everything is from first principles, and then you have this engineering science in between, where you strive to go from the empiricism into more understanding towards scientific level. Okay. So, that is the overall picture. Now, let us get into the details. We can wind up film theory very quickly. First to note is that this is the oldest picture of mass transfer. People, when they started looking at mass transfer, they thought of film theory first, and incidentally it is borrowed conceptually from the analogous convective heat transfer. So, to that extent you may say that heat transfer is the older discipline from this analytical point of view of film theory. Now, what is this whole thing? Let us imagine that you have a solid here, this greenish element there is a solid, and let us imagine that there is a fluid flowing along this solid, downward or upward does not matter, but the flow is there. And now, imagine that this fluid is acquiring a species A which is within this solid. The physical picture could be this slab is like a slab of naphthalene, a solid which can sublime. This fluid could be air which is moving relative to this solid. A naphthalene will sublime across the interface and then will diffuse towards the bulk of the air. If you were to measure the concentration profile, concentration at various distances from this naphthalene solid slab surface, the concentration will actually gradually decrease from Ca1 to Ca2. So, that is first thing to note. The real profile will be as this continuous line indicates, gradually dropping from the interface concentration, surface concentration towards the bulk value Ca2. Okay. Now, in order to analyze this, what we say is, and this fluid could be turbulent. So, there could be great deal of mixing here. We are deliberately choosing a situation which might be most amenable to the visualization of film theory. Ca2 is constant, that is the bulk concentration, and Ca1 is the interface concentration, which will be basically the vapor pressure of naphthalene at the surface divided by RT. And this film, which I am yet to talk about, I am just indicating that the broken line indicates the concentration profile imposed upon this actual practically measurable concentration profile intentionally as an artifact under a certain assumption, and that assumption is supposing the concentration which is varying along this curve gradually. If we forego that, we forego our understanding of reality, measurement we are deliberately shunning now, and presume that the actual concentration varies as is indicated by this tangent to the concentration profile at z equal to 0. If, please remember, model is only as good as the assumptions we make. Okay. We need to make assumptions because we do not understand the reality completely. So, what we do is we try to understand reality as much as we can and make a simplified picture of it, which is amenable to our writing equations about. Okay. This is the simplest of examples where this actual concentration profile in turbulent conditions we can't predict. So, what we do is we try to make a simplest picture about it, and we say that actually the concentration profile does not vary like that, the concentration profile is linear. So, this dashed line is indicating a tangent to the concentration profile at z equal to 0. Now, if this concentration drops linearly, it will hit the level of bulk concentration somewhere, where that tangent intersects this horizontal line depicting the bulk concentration, we say this is what our film is. Okay. So, you may ask the question, is a film a real entity with exactly this thickness? All we can say is, if the conditions are turbulent, physically we could say there is a slower moving region of air close to the solid, but we can't say that only at z equal to zf we could perceive motion of fluid. Even within this zone, the fluid is moving, it is moving slower. We might say that similar to boundary layer, we could define that this is the region where the fluid is moving slower. How do we define the extent of boundary layer? That is also arbitrary. We say arbitrarily the concentration reaches a level of about 1% of the bulk concentration. Now, who defined 1%? It is us. I could have said 0.1%, I could have said 0.01%. So, the film thickness or boundary layer thickness will be dependent on how I define where that boundary is. Similarly, the film theory is an artifact we have created, and now we become a little bolder. We say that this is the region where the fluid is moving slower. I go one step further and say that I will neglect all fluid motion there. I will say that the fluid within this film is stagnant. If it is stagnant, it is much like my solid membrane that we had. There is a concentration Ca 1 here, concentration Ca 2 here. This is the delta, and analyze this concentration profile. Now, one thing more to be kept in mind, the linearity of concentration profile we had encountered earlier in that tutorial problem, first tutorial problem, and it was a consequence of two assumptions. The first assumption was we were given a steady state, number one. Okay. Second assumption was there was no chemical reaction involved. Okay. Here also we are saying there is no reaction, but we created this straight line by taking recourse to tangent to the concentration profile, which indirectly implies there must be steady state. Okay. So, first thing now to remember about film theory is that it is a steady state model. Very important assumption in film theory is that it is a steady state model. We do not know whether in reality the steady state actually is justifiable. It turns out that in most of the cases it does not. Okay. But that is okay. The first model you create need not be the final word, only then there is a hope of understanding something more. But if we do not take the first step, we are not likely to go forward, we can't make progress. So, it is okay, this is fine, and we will come to salvage film theory a little bit. Actually speaking, not. The point is the difference between boundary layer and the film of film theory. In boundary layer, I deliberately raise this issue which might possibly confuse you a bit. Please remember, boundary layer is different from film of film theory. First thing, in the boundary layer, we actually have and admit motion. The fluid within the boundary layer is moving and we admit it is moving. In the film model, we know that there is movement, we know that air here is moving, and yet we say that arbitrarily I decide that the concentration profile is not this curvilinear concentration profile, but a linear one, and it has a thickness of this ZF, within which there is no movement. So, here, because if I admit movement, I have to quantify it, and I have no means of quantifying the movement of fluid within the turbulent conditions. So, I am choosing a self imposed model on the reality. What is moving? Admittedly slower moving, I say no motion. Okay. So, incidentally this is also one of the shortcomings of the model which will limit its use. Got it? So, do not confuse with the film thickness with the boundary layer. That's I think very important. No, no. It is like this. It is physical in the sense that is the region where the fluid is moving slower, but we do not know where it ends. So, it is not a physical entity with a given specified definite extent. I could have chosen, if I choose 1%, I will get say 1 millimeter. If I choose 0.1%, I will get 10 millimeters. So, okay. But if I measure a concentration profile, the film thickness is certain definite thing. If I change flow, then I change the concentration profile, then I can change film thickness. Now, is that clear? Exactly. We have the concentration profile from measurement. So, we draw a tangent, and where it intersects the level of the bulk concentration, this is that point, and the distance from the surface of this solid up to this point of intersection is something we call film thickness. So, now remember, I will make it somewhat lighter for you to appreciate. Now, we introduce a concept which is called parameter of the model. Film thickness is the parameter of the model. So, film theory has one parameter, and that is the film thickness. Let us call it ZF, Z subscript capital F, that is the film thickness. Okay. So, film thickness is the single parameter of the model. Now, let me tell you ahead of time that our objective is to be able to predict the mass transfer coefficient actually prevailing under experimental conditions as well as we can. So, film thickness is the parameter of the model. The extent to which the film theory will do well in predicting experimental data will depend on the assumption and their validity. So, a model comes with a set of assumptions, and their validity will dictate the applicability or generality of the model in predicting experimental data. So, what is that criterion that we are seeking, against which we will be judging all these different models? The fact that there are different models means that there is a need for those different models. Film theory is the oldest and simplest picture. We need better, more sophisticated models to be able to predict experimental data better. But what do experimental data tell us? This is what the experimental data tell us from various researchers' measurements for greater part of the 20th century. Gas liquid, liquid solid systems all put together. And what do the experimental data require or give us as a condensed condition for checking whether a model is good enough or needs improvement, etc. It is in short this. We know that diffusion coefficient is an inescapable parameter of the transport coefficient of great importance in mass transfer. Mass transfer coefficient is an expedient we have to adopt in order to deal with our inability to describe the flow field turbulent condition. These two are linked in some way, and it turns out all experimental data will indicate that the average mass transfer coefficient is proportional to the diffusivity to the power n, small n, and this small n can take values from close to 0 to about 0.9. So, depending on whose experimental data you are looking at, you might find the KL average is proportional to almost d8 to the power 0.9, approximately 1, not 1, or it may be that KL average is very weakly dependent on diffusivity. So, diffusivity to the power something like 0.1 or whatever. So, the experimental data show this kind of variation in dependence of mass transfer coefficient on diffusivity. The question next is, if this is going to be our criterion for judging different mass transfer models, what is it that the film theory suggests us? Now, you already know the answer for it, because you know from the analysis of the solid non-porous membrane that K L average was proportional to diffusivity to the power 1. Actually, it was equal to dAB by delta, right. So, under steady state, we have a linear concentration profile and K L average varies as diffusivity to the power 1. Okay. Experimentally, K L average goes as diffusivity to certain power different from 1. So, now this is the principal reason why experiments reject film theory in the broadest sense of it. But please remember one thing, even your first step is important, okay. And this is not so bad a model when it comes to one or two specific aspects of mass transfer. But before we do that, I want to highlight this point here. For the film model, which is a steady state model, to be a reasonable picture of reality, we require the film to be very thin. Second, that the amount which is being transferred of solute A here should be large compared to the solute present within the film. These are kind of interlinked. Let me explain. If the film is thin, then its capacity to hold A, the solute A, will be limited, and if the transport is rapid, then it will mean that this capacity of the film to hold A will be attained in a quick time. Shorter that time, more is a chance that our film theory may be accepted. So, for thin films and for rapid transport rate compared to what is present within the film, under these two conditions, the steady state would be achieved quickly, and then we can hope that the film model may do well in predicting experimental data, which means basically the initial dynamics in our measurements is short and so negligible. Okay. We later see something parallel to this in some other context. Okay. Now, if this is all clear and the analysis is clear to you, I hope you have done that assignment all by yourself and not copied. Still, I will give you this picture. The film thickness is ZF, dAB by Z is the mass transfer coefficient, dAB by ZF is the mass transfer coefficient, and the generalized mass transfer coefficient from Drew's analysis is F equal to dABC by ZF. Okay. To quickly remind you of this, I could even just describe what you had. You had taken the film and within that two stations, one at Z, another at Z plus delta Z, and then you defined flux across this element between Z and Z plus delta Z by the Fickian expression. So, minus dAB dou Ca by dou Z at Z, outgoing is at ZF, Z plus delta Z, and the accumulation is 0 because of steady state. There is no reaction, so no generation, no loss term. So, we have input minus output, input at Z by Fickian expression minus output at Z plus delta Z by Fickian expression equal to 0, which is basically minus dAB dCA by dZ at Z minus dC by dZ at Z equal to Z plus delta Z, right. So, that gives you d2Ca by dZ square equal to 0, clear. dAB is constant, ZF is constant. So, mass transfer coefficient turns out to be constant. Okay. So, Do you want me to write this or you are able to imagine? Here. So, if d2 Ca by dz square equal to 0, that means dCA by dz equal to constant, right. And once you have that, you integrate again and you get concentration as linear concentration profile, and the concentration profile will be actually Ca1 minus Ca1 minus Ca2 by delta into Z. If Z equal to 0, concentration is Ca1, the first boundary condition. If Z equal to delta, Z equal to delta cancels, and then you have Ca1 minus Ca1 minus Ca2. So, it will be Ca2. So, the two boundary conditions are met with linear concentration profile. You differentiate this, multiply by minus dAB, and then you get Ca1 minus Ca2 as driving force and dAB by delta as the mass transfer coefficient, right. So, I do not have to show you this derivation. Okay. Important point is that mass transfer coefficient is proportional to dAB, whereas experiments reveal mass transfer coefficient is proportional to dAB to the power n, which can be significantly different from 1. That is the chief limitation of this simplest and oldest picture of mass transfer. Is that all clear? That is the range of exponents 0 to about 0.8 to 0.9. So, if you look at only the data where the power is in this range 0.8, 0.9, we may say that film model will be able to predict those external data reasonably well. But there is a wide body of data which spans the other lower exponents. So, what went wrong? We could ask the question, what went wrong? Why isn't the simplest picture adequate? Okay. This question was asked by Higbee, and therefore, the next model for mass transfer had grounds to be proposed. See, if you had in the first shot got the film model to predict all external data, we will not need to study any more models. We will not need any more models. The fact that it does not agree with experiments necessitates that we improve upon film model and do it in systematic fashion. So, we question what went wrong with film model, but I think even before we address that, let me tell you that film theory is largely discarded, but it is not completely abandoned for a couple of reasons, and those couple of reasons are that it does well in handling effect of high mass transfer flux, and second thing, the effect of mass transfer on heat transfer. Third thing, it does surprisingly well in predicting the effect of chemical reaction on mass transfer. Okay. So, high mass transfer flux conditions are amenable for steady state. Thin film, quick rate of transport, so steady state can be attained in practically available time. So, steady state picture can be okay. Heat transfer and mass transfer you have to await for a later time. We will see, we will do the joint heat and mass transfer analysis, and you will see how film model becomes a convenient tool to describe. Effect of chemical reaction you already know, because in that problem in the later parts we had introduced first order chemical reaction, and it meant that the concentration profile would become steeper. Faster the reaction, steeper will be the concentration profile, which means basically the gradient of concentration becoming sharper for faster reactions, the rate of transfer is higher. That we call enhancement of mass transfer because of chemical reaction. And it turns out that if you look at this flux of A with reaction divided by flux of A without reaction, that is the enhancement factor, in particular mass transfer coefficient with reaction divided by mass transfer coefficient without reaction, that is the enhancement factor. It somehow becomes a product of chemical reaction factors and a hydrodynamic factors, and those hydrodynamic factors cancel out. So, although film model is too rough a model based on the limitation of steady state and complete neglect of flow or movement, somehow when the flow factors get cancelled, the effect of chemical reaction or enhancement factor is predicted well. There is always this guideline, and it is a very generic guideline. You probably will be verifying it over maybe a decade or two if you continue to research in chemical engineering. The general guideline is that we ought to be able to explain our experiments, okay. And we are generally guided by this scientific culture that the simplest description is the most beautiful description. However, this aesthetic should not mislead us. It should not make us think that we can oversimplify a situation and say that okay, that is my criterion, simplicity. If oversimplification is not able to help you understand or explain external data, that picture has no acceptability. So, the general guideline is you settle for the simplest picture which adequately explains external data. So, joint heat and mass transfer, effect of chemical reaction, effect of high mass transfer fluxes, you can use film theory. Other than that, forget about film theory. Okay. Now, we come to the question, the shortcoming of film model, why is it that the film model does not do well in predicting those exponents from 0 to about 0.9. The chief suspicion was the assumption of steady state. Okay. And so, if you abandon the assumption of steady state, we have to take up unsteady state picture. So, dAB d2 Ca by dz square equal to 0, that is not adequate. If it has to be unsteady state picture, then it should be dou Ca by dou t equal to dAb dou 2 Ca by dou z square, okay, where that t is real time. Unsteady state picture, short time, within that time dynamics has to be analyzed and it is a real time, but I can get the same picture through my film model if I attach myself to the element of liquid close to the surface and descend along the surface at the maximum velocity. And in that case my t will be equal to theta equal to y by u I max. Do you all get that? Okay. Here is a statement I will anyway read out to you and say this, that out of date theories are not in principle unscientific because they have been discarded. And the film theory also demonstrate that those three circumstances of high mass transfer flux, joint heat and mass transfer and effect of chemical reaction on mass transfer are still dealt with conveniently by film model. So, it is not unscientific, we must know the limitation, and so we next try to overcome the limitation of steady state. So, what Higby had done, he argued that the liquid is not in contact with gas for enough time to justify the steady state. See, we start with this picture that before any theory or model came into picture, we have made measurements. So, we have that curvilinear concentration profile with us, okay, which means we have the end concentration beginning Ca1 and Ca2. What we are measuring in the naphthalene ball case or the slab case, we measure the change of weight of the slab in a given time and we know the surface area. So, we know how much mass of naphthalene has sublimed across how much area, and we know the vapor pressure. The end concentration Ca2 may be 0 if it is air free of naphthalene. So, we know driving force. So, we can calculate average mass transfer coefficient, right. That is how we get for the gas phase. For instead of air, if we had a liquid and then this naphthalene slab were replaced by let us say a sugar slab, then we will have mass transfer from solid to liquid, dissolution of sugar, transport of sugar, and we would see how much is the weight loss of this slab of sugar in a given time with known area when the concentration difference is solubility minus 0. So, we will be able to calculate KL average. That is how for different systems mass transfer coefficients have been obtained. That is how we get KL dependence on DAB as this point up to about 0.8, 0.9. Clear? Okay. So, Higbee said that the limitation of film model is the steady state assumption, and he says that actually the time is not sufficient to attain steady state, which means we have to encounter and analyze the unsteady state. And then how do we do it? Stating that now time of exposure of this element to the gas, in this case element is of air to the solid, that is short. Okay. He was only taking the next baby step towards the analysis of unsteady state picture in the real turbulent mass transfer, please remember. And as would be expected, the next step is going to be again somewhat simplistic. So, he admitted unsteady state, but he had to make one assumption, and which is a common assumptions even today most chemical engineers make, and that is some kind of constancy of an average, which need not always be true. So, what he said is every element will spend the same length of time at the interface during which the unsteady state mass transfer will take place, which is basically in the context of the falling film. Imagine you take a liquid element close to the surface or interface with gas, and according to Higbee's unsteady state model, this element slides at maximum velocity keeping in contact with the gas, and the time is short, and he says all elements have to do this. They have to come to the top, they have to slide to the bottom, and there is no shortcut, there is no overstaying. Every element will spend a short time, but a constant time, okay, which simplifies life mathematically, because it allows you the unsteady state picture. These are the two common situations. I have some rough pictures here to motivate you towards the connection of these models with the reality. We might have a planar interface between liquid and gas, and the liquid is stirred and the gas may be stirred, and the transfer takes place. Or it might be more like aquarium bubble situation, air is released at the bottom, which will rise up through the liquid, and during which time the gas phase component will dissolve into the liquid, and according to Higbee's mental picture, there is an element which starts here, stays along the surface, leaves here. The bubble rises with a constant velocity u b, let us say terminal rise velocity. So, as long as the bubble size does not change and the velocity does not change, every element has to spend the same constant short lifetime at this interface, okay. And within this time scale, or in this case the liquid is there, there is gas, and then liquid element comes, stays at the surface for same length of time, short time, and then goes and mixes with the bulk. We have these two situations in which, neglecting curvature, we have the same kind of equation. So, dou Ca by dou T equal to dAB dou 2 Ca by dou Z square, that will be the same equation applicable for this element, diffusion within unsteady state diffusion within this element. Okay. One might want to know, if I really put such picture like this, what would be that lifetime? How much is that short time? One can make an estimate of that. If the bubble diameter is dB, then dB by the terminal rise velocity ub is the length of time an element on the average will spend at the surface. So, if you take a bubble about 1 centimeter in diameter and the bubble is rising with about 25 centimeter per second, the time of life of each element here will be 0.04 seconds. That is short enough to conform to our unsteady state description, and we say it is constant. Okay. In this case, I could take this characteristic length scale divided by characteristic velocity. In this case, I will be struggling to define that constant lifetime and to estimate it. But presuming that we could do it, then that is what is necessary. Okay. Now, we come to this point. Concentration at interface is the solubility or equilibrium, saturation concentration CAI. Unsteady state diffusion, initial concentration within the eddy is Ca 0. That means, before this element or eddy comes here, it has uniform concentration Ca 0. Before it comes here, the concentration is Ca 0. So, start concentration or at time equal to 0 concentration is Ca 0, interface concentration or at the boundary here or here, that is CAI, and then we have the unsteady state diffusion equation which we have to solve. Initial condition is known, interface condition is known. Far away, this element, now you need to understand this more. Please remember, the film theory says film is very thin. Penetration model says that the time the element spends in contact with the gas is very short. Because the time of contact is short, the depth of penetration is short. So, even compared to the film thickness of the falling film, the element may be much smaller. But just as delta was taken as infinity, anything longer than the short extent of the element is infinity, which essentially says that we are saying at one time, in one breath, in the same breath we are saying that the element is small and yet it is large enough for its extent to be taken as infinity. Okay. Physically, the element has to be smaller than the dimension of your vessel, no matter how big your reactor is, let us say 2 meters wide. The element cannot be more than 2 meters. Actually, the element may not be more than about even a millimeter. And if the depth of penetration or the region where diffusion can alter concentration is shorter than that 1 millimeter can be safely taken as infinity. And we take that infinity because it is convenient. Mathematically, it allows you to know and use error functions. Okay. That is where I was nudging you at last time. I will just mention this particular picture. This is the last 10 seconds. This is the equation I was talking of in words. Dou Ca by dou theta is the accumulation term, dAB dou 2 Ca by dou z square is the diffusional term. And the conditions are at time theta equal to 0, Ca is Ca 0, initial concentration for all z, and this all z meaning z greater than 0 up to infinity. Then at theta equal to 0, z equal to 0, we take concentration equal to Cai. For all times at z equal to 0, concentration is Cai. Okay. Strictly speaking, this is theta equal to 0, Ca equal to Ca 0 for all z excluding z equal to 0, and this should be for theta greater than or equal to 0, at z equal to 0 concentration is Cai. You notice the fine difference? We are neglecting interfacial dynamics. It may take a few milliseconds for interface to attain this saturation concentration Cai. We neglect that. We say the moment the element comes in contact with the gas, it becomes saturated at the surface. And then far away, z equal to infinity, z tending to infinity, concentration is unchanged from initial concentration Ca 0. So, this is all I need you to come up to today. We will look at the error function complementary concentration profile. I will urge you to look at that part in BSL, but I will show you the entire derivation in all steps here. Thank you.